My dear students, I welcome all of you for today's session on design and analysis of algorithms. In this session, we are going to discuss those fundamental data structures which we have not discussed in previous sessions. Okay, in previous session, we had a discussion about linear data structures. Okay, in this session, we will have a discussion about non-linear data structure. Okay, and this session is the last session of module 1. I mean, we are at the end of first module. So, hope you're clear with the data structures. Okay, what we have discussed in previous session. You're clear with stack, you're clear with queues, and you're clear with priority queue. Okay, these are user-defined data structures. Then at the start of the first linear data structure, what I told you is an array. Clear? I think you're clear with difference between arrays and strings. Okay, so now we'll proceed. Now coming to agenda of this session. Okay, so in this session, I'm going to discuss about non-linear data structures. Okay, non-linear. First, let me tell you what actually non-linear. Non-linear means not continuous. Okay, I mean when I said array, you remember, right? It's a collection of data items, all data items of same type. So what is an array? It's a collection of data items, all data items of same type, and these data items are stored in continuous memory locations, one after the other. Got it? So consecutive memory locations. So that is linear. But when I say non-linear data structure, it's a collection of data items, of course, but data items are stored in random memory locations, need not be in continuous memory locations. Got it? So data items are stored in random memory locations. So such a data structure where data items are going to store in random fashion, we call non-linear data structures. The two data structures, okay, what we are going to study, which falls under non-linear, are graphs and trees. Okay, then we'll have a discussion about sets. Set in discrete mathematical structure, I remember I've discussed about sets. Hope all of you remember. Again, set is nothing but collection. Okay, but in set, order doesn't matter. You need to remember subset, null set, power set. Clear? So that's why I said discrete mathematical structures, graph theory, data structures, some basic programming language or prerequisites for this subject. Okay, then we'll have a look at dictionary. Clear? So now coming to first agenda, non-linear data structures. So I said non-linear data structure means data items will be stored in random memory locations. Okay, clear? Need not be in continuous memory locations. Okay, now we'll see one data structure which is non-linear, that is graphs. So let me tell you, let me make you understand easily. Then we'll have a look at a definition. So on the slide, just have a look at the diagram. Okay. In this diagram, you can see there are vertices, right? Numbered 0, 1, 2, 3 is numbered twice by mistake. Okay, 1, 3 should be 4. So there are vertices or nodes numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, 2 also repeated twice. Okay, consider one. You consider 1, 2 to be some other number. Got it? So what I call in this diagram, all those points with numbers, I will enclose them in one set, and let me call that set as V, set of vertices. Got it? So in one set, say V, there are this numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Clear? So in other set, okay, I will designate it as E. Okay, and I'll call it as set of edges. Okay, I mean, in this diagram, I can see there is an edge between vertices 1 and 2, edge between vertices 2 and 5. Clear? So edge between vertices 2 and 3. So this edge, okay, suppose as seen in diagram, there's an existence of edge between vertices 1 and 3, right? So that I will represent as a tuple. I will enclose within parenthesis, and I'll write it as 1, 3 or 3, 1. I can write 1, 3 or 3, 1 because it's an undirected edge. Means I can travel from 1 to 3 or 3 to 1. So I can write it as 1, 3 or 3, 1. In this way, I'll have a tuple for all the edges. And all these tuples I will enclose in some other set, and I'll call it as E. Got it? So now we have two sets, right? One set is V, set of vertices. Set of vertices means all these numbers. And other set P we call set of edges. That is set of all tuples. The tuples representing existence of edge. So this pair together, I mean V and E together, I'll call a graph. Now I think you're clear. So what is graph? A graph G equals V comma E is a finite set V of items called vertices, and a set of pairs. See, a pair means tuple. Set of pairs of these items called edges. Clear with this, right? So we'll have a look at next example. Okay, there we will come to know clearly if you have not understood now. Okay, so in this I said that there is an edge, right? 1, 3. I can traverse from 1 to 3 or 3 to 1. It's a bi-direction. There's no direction, right? Arrow mark is not there. So 1 to 3 or 3 to 1. Such an edge I call as an undirected edge. Okay. Now, what about directed edge? I'll tell you. Now, for directed edge, let me go to this slide. Okay. So look at the second diagram. See, there is an edge from A to C, not from C to A, because that there is an arrow is being pointing. Means in this case, I can traverse from A to C. Means I should not say traverse because that is different. Let me tell you now. There is an edge from A to C, but not an edge from C to A. Okay, such an edge where arrow indicate is appearing, we call a directed edge. Got it? So in the first diagram, A to C also there is an edge, C to E also there is an edge. It's an undirected. But in second graph, A to C there is an edge, but the C to A there is no edge. This is about directed edge and undirected edge. Now what about loop? Loop means what loop? Go start from anywhere, come back to same source. That is a loop. Okay, so you look at phi. Okay, at phi we can see there are four edges totally, but what you feel there are three edges, one 5 to 3, 5 to 2, and the other 5 to 6, that 1 2 has rewritten. Okay, 5 to 6, but see at phi there's an edge from 5 to 3, 5 to 2, 5 to 6. Apart from that, there is some edge in the form of a oval I have shown that goes out of it and comes back to phi. Such an edge going out of phi and coming to back to phi we call a loop. Clear with this? So types of now you are clear what is graph and what are types of edges we will have. Okay, graph is nothing but a v comma e. Okay, where v is a finite set of items called vertices, and e is a set of face of these items called edges. And let me say, suppose if I want to say graph, okay, let me say for v I said finite set, but for e I didn't say any finite. Let it be. For let me say just a set. Set may be enough. Okay. One more condition is that the v should not be empty. Means on an xy plane, if there is at least a single dot, let me say there is only one vertex on the diagram, on the one vertex in the diagram, say 0. No edges, I can say that to be graph. So types of graphs. Now coming to types of graphs, okay. See here, look at the first graph. On each, see in the first graph, suppose if I say an edge C to B, I can even say and there is an edge from B to C. Say in first graph, there is an edge from D to E as well as E to D. Means there is no directed edge. All edges in the first graph are undirected. All edges in first graph are undirected. Such a graph I will call as undirected graph. Whereas in second graph, all edges are directed. All edges in second graph are directed. Such a graph we call directed graph, or simply we call digraph. So I think clear with this, right? So suppose if all edges in a graph are undirected, then we call it's an undirected graph. Suppose all edges in a graph are directed, we call such a graph to be digraph or directed graph. Clear? So next, okay, this is in this, okay, for the previous slide, I have shown two graphs, right? Directed, undirected. How V and E are represented. Let me tell you, here I have shown V equals A, B, C, D, E, F, right? So there's nothing but vertex set in this both the graph, okay? V is same. But what about E? For example, in first graph, okay, there is AC. Okay, there is AC. Okay, even in first graph, let me say there is in first graph there is AD, but in second graph there is it's a directed graph. There is no AD, there is DA. Okay, so I will look at the difference. See here, in first for the first undirected graph, I shown A comma D as the second element in set A. Remember, look at E. Okay, second element of E is A comma D. Now come to this diagram. Of course, there's a comma D. There's nothing but D comma also. But for the second digraph, okay, I can't represent A comma D as an edge. I should represent D comma A. Okay. Now let me look here. See here in this slide for the digraph. Okay. In E there is no element A comma D. There is an element D comma A. Clear? So this is how we'll represent edges. Got it? So if it's an undirected edge, suppose there is an undirected edge between A and C. Okay, I can represent it as a tuple A comma C or C comma A. But if there is a directed edge from A towards C, then I should represent it as A comma C, not C comma A. Clear? This third inequality we will come to know while evaluating a theorem. Okay, this means number of vertices, number of edges. Okay, I said what I said. In order to call a graph, there should be at least one vertex. Need not be edges. So 0 edges might be there. If 0 edges also there, the edges need not be there, but one vertex should be there. Got it? One vertex should be there, but edges need not have to be present. So 0 less than or equals number of edges. Less than or equal to what? He has given some formula. Size of V into size of V minus 1 by 2. That is the maximum number of edges that can be possible in undirected graph or direct. That we'll see later. Okay, clear. So now coming to, again, there are 3 types of graphs. Okay, in general, these are not 3 types, subvariants. Those we call complete graph, dense graphs, sparse graph. See here. Okay, that for the previous inequality. Okay, now this third inequality. Now we will come to know. Okay, see here. Complete graph means for each and every pair of vertices, for each and every pair of vertices, there should be an edge. For example, say in first graph, let me consider a pair of vertices 1 and 5. There is an edge. Let me consider the other pair 2 and 3. There is an edge. Let me consider the other pair 1 and 4. There is an edge. Got it? Let me consider the other pair 2 and 5. There is an edge. Means between each and every pair of vertices, between each and every pair of vertices, there should be an edge. That we call complete graph. So now in this, how many vertices? 5. So according to this equation, 5 into 5 minus 1, that is 4. So 5 into 5 minus 1, that's nothing but 5 into 4. 20 by 2, that's nothing but 10. So in a graph with 5 vertices, undirected graph with 5 vertices, maximum 10 edges. Just check it. Just have a look at the complete graph. Okay, there are 10 edges. That was inequality. Okay. Stating. See again. See 0. There can be only vertices. Okay, those A, B, C, D, E. Only vertices can be there, but need not have to be an edges. I will call it a graph. So 0 edges. Maximum 5 into 5 minus 1 by 2. That is 10. Clear? We can have a look at this complete graph. You will see 10 edges because a complete graph with all possible edges, but in all possible phase. Dense graph means, okay, now again, just see here, the second graph I'll call a dense graph because when I compare that with complete graph, I will see only few edges are missing. When only few edges are missing in a graph, okay, when compared to its complete graph, when compared to complete graph, okay, we call such a graph to be dense. Okay, now look at the third graph. When I compare with complete graph, I see maximum edges are missing. Maximum edges are missing means we call it's a sparse graph. Maximum edges missing, sparse graph. Minimum edges missing, dense graph. Or edges between all possible pairs, we call complete graph. Now, graph representation. See this, what is graph in mind? Now, see, suppose now you want this graph to be given as an input to your C program. You want this graph to be given as an input to your Java program. How you are going to give it as an input? You know how to give numbers as an input. You know how to give characters as an input. You know how to give strings as an input through keyboard, right? Now for your C program, how you are going to give this graph as an input? Important. Now you can give this graph as an input to your C program. Can you draw on your output screen? You can't draw on the output screen. Got it? So you need some representation for this graph. So that representation can be understood by C program. And that representation you can easily give as an input. So there are two types of representation, what we call adjacency matrix and adjacency list. See, in adjacency matrix representation, I think you have worked with matrix, right? You know how to give matrix as an input to your C program, right? Because you had a C program to multiply two matrices, I remember. So you know how to give matrix as an input, but you don't know how to give graph as an input. So now, what I said, look at the first pic, which is in green color, green and white. At the left, there's a graph. Now what I said, I want this graph to be given as an input to C program. This graph, I need to give as an input to C program. So I said I want some representation. That representation C program can understand. And that representation, one of the representations, matrix. See here, total how many vertices are there here? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let there be 6 rows, 6 columns with row numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Column number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, for those pair of vertices where there is an edge, for example, between a pair of vertices 2 and 3, there is an edge. Then, in a matrix corresponding to row number 2 and column number 3, you enter 1. Got it? Since there is an edge between 2 and 3, in a matrix, row number 2, column number 3, you enter 1. Clear? Similar, this 2, 3, it's an undirected. 3, 2, edge also exists. So row number 3, column number 2, enter 1. Now, here in this graph, there is no edge between, say, 4 and 5. 5 and 4, there is no edge. So row number 4, column number 5, I need to enter 0. See here, row number 4, column number 5, 0. In the same way, row number 5, column number 4, 0, because there is no edge from 5 to 4. Got it? So clear with this? So matrix graph I can't give as an input. So I'm making some representation. That representation which I can give easily as an input, and my C program can understand. That's a matrix representation. adjacency matrix representation. So suppose the graph is a directed. Graph is a directed, like in the second case. Okay. So now second case it's almost similar to previous version, but what actual difference I'll tell you. It's a directed. Directed means, for example, let me say in the first case, if a edge from 0 to 1 is a directed, means 0 to 1, but not 1 to 0, means row number 0, column number 1, make enter 1, but row number 1, column number 0, make enter 0 in directed. Okay. Now in this case I have taken diagram, and there's a weight on the edge. Okay, that we call there's a directed edge. All the edges are directed. Also there is a weight on the edge. Got it? So what we need to do in this case, okay, for example, there is no edge from A to B, but there is an edge from B to A. Got it? So for B to A there is an edge. So row number B, column number A. Okay, we are not entering here 1 or 0. We are entering the weight of that edge. Say for example, there's an edge from A to C. So row number A, column number C. What is the value of that edge? 3 we need to enter. Now, there is no edge between B and D or D and B, is it? So row number B, column number D, or row number D, column number B. I need to make use of some infinite value. Here I specify infinite symbol. Got it? Clear? Infinite value. Clear with this adjacency matrix representation for an undirected graph, for a directed graph, as well as weighted graph. See, in weighted graph, if there's an edge from A to B, in weighted graph, if there is an edge from A to B, row number A, column number B, I should enter value of that edge, cost of that edge. Clear? This is about adjacency matrix representation. Now, there is one more representation we call adjacency list. Okay, so you're clear with the list, right? As discussed about list, linked list, single linked list, double linked list in previous session. In linked list, okay, for each vertex, okay, I need to create a list of, in a list for each vertex, I need to have an information, I need to have nodes for all adjacent edges. Listen here, in list representation, I need to create for each vertex a linked list. In that linked list, I need to have those number of nodes, okay, that matches the number of edges. Sorry, those number of see, in a list I need to have those number of nodes. Okay, number of nodes should be equal to number of adjacent vertices. For example, let me say 0. From 0, okay, 0, there's an edge to 1, 3, 2, 4. Got it? So I need to create those 4 nodes. Okay, and those 4 nodes to be linked. Suppose if it is a weighted graph, okay, no in the node, okay, so look at second. Information data part will have 2 fields. One is the vertex number. The one field in the data part has 2 fields. One is vertex number, the other is weight. For example, see from 1 in the second graph, okay, from 1, 2 adjacent vertices, 2 and 4. So I create 2 nodes. For 2, weight is 9. For 4, weight is 1. Clear? So now we'll come to tree. See what actually tree means. To be in very simple, I can call it as a connected acyclic graph. Tree is a connected acyclic graph. Connected acyclic graph means, okay. So for example, look at both the graph. Okay, look at both the graphs. From any vertex, you can traverse through any other vertex. For example, if say from A, I can traverse to F. Say from D, I can traverse through A. So means all vertices are reachable from all other vertices. So this means connected graph. Acyclic means they should not be cycle. See, I will start from A, I will go to C, I will go to D. I can't come back to A. There is no cycle. That's why you call acyclic. So tree is a connected acyclic graph. So look at first tree, okay? So how many edges are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many vertices? 6. So 6 minus 1 is nothing but 5. I mean to say, number of edges in a tree, number of edges in a tree is equal to number of vertices in a tree minus 1. Okay. For example, look there. In the first tree, there are 5 edges. There are 6 vertices. So 5 equals to 6 minus 1. Right. So number of edges in a tree is equal to number of vertices minus 1. So there are some types of trees. Rooted tree. Okay. Now I'll tell you. Rooted tree, the second tree I won't call. Of course, it's a rooted tree. We reorder. Okay, rooted tree means there's always something known as root node. I have organized. So in the first tree we call rooted. A is the root of the tree. Okay. Ordered trees, again there'll be some ordering. So binary tree means, okay, in both the trees what I shown is binary, because for any node, say A, there are 2 children nodes. I'll call B and C are the child nodes of A. If I say for C, D and D are child nodes. If I say for C, D and D are child nodes. For E, child node is F. See, listen, I mean to say binary tree means any node can have maximum 2 child nodes. See, if I want to call a tree to be binary, any node can have maximum 2 childs. Got it? See, A, C are having 2 childs, but whereas E is having 1 child. Okay, but maximum 2 childs. We call binary tree. Binary search tree, multi-way search tree. These are 2 other types. Okay, we will have discussion about this in future. Now coming to set. Okay, what is set? You know, right? Set is an unordered collection of distinct items called elements. Okay, so what are the operations you can check? You can apply a set. Set means you are given set, you are given some element. Check whether that element exists in set or not. Next, you are given 2 sets. You unite those 2 sets. Union operation, you know. You are given 2 sets. Identify common elements between those 2 sets. That is intersection. Clear? So let me say there's some sets. We know, right? U equals this set. Clear? How I can give this set as an input? Yeah, that's the question arises. I told you how to give graph as an input. Now it's time how to give set as an input to C program. So any set you consider that is with respect to some universal set. Okay, any set we are considering is with respect to some universal set. Is with respect to some universal set. Here in this case, let me say universal set is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now there is one set S, 2, 3, 5, 7. So I need to give this set S as an input to my C program. So now what I'll choose, there is a representation known as bit vector. Bit vector, okay. Since in universal set there are 9 elements, my bit string should be of size 9. The first bit corresponds to first element of universal set. Second bit corresponds to second element of universal set. Last bit corresponds to last element of universal set. Now in this S, whether 1 exists, the first element of universal set exists in S? No. So make first bit 0. Second element 2 exists in universal set? Yes, make that bit 1. Third element of universal set 3 exists in S? Make that bit 1. Fourth element of universal set 4 doesn't exist in S. Make it a 0. This is bit vector. Got it? So set how I can give as a set as an input to my C program through bit string or bit vector. Okay, so this is some difference between sets and lists. Sets cannot contain identical elements. Set means no repetition. Okay, set elements should not be repeated. Whereas in list, elements can be repeated. Okay, and set is unordered. Okay, if you change the order, it doesn't affect the set. Clear? So one set is unique elements, no repetition. And in set, there's no ordering. Got it? Operation of a set, searching for an item, adding a new item. I can delete an element from a set. So dictionary means a data structure that implements 3 operations. See, dictionary means any data, you yourself can implement a data structure. And in that data structure, you implement 3 operations. One, searching for an item. And next, adding for an item. Next, deleting an existing item. If you implement this 3 operations, searching, addition, deletion, in a data structure, I'll call that particular data structure a dictionary. So dictionary is a data structure with 3 operations: insertion, deletion, searching. To implement, I can go for arrays. I can use hashing, we will discuss later, and balance search. So this is about today's session. Okay, thank you for listening.